the final details. I'm going to show you a few techniques you can use to just finish up this painting, make it feel complete, add a little bit more interest so it feels finished. The first one I'm going to show you is called a broken color technique. So what you're going to do is just take some paint with your brush. This brush is a bit big, so I'm going to do a smaller brush on that one. Take some paint, and as you can see, there's a bit of a light yellowy brown line at the back here. So I'm just gonna lay that color in back here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like a dash, a dot, maybe a smaller dash, a couple dots, dash here, back here. And when you do that, if you sit back and look at your art, you'll see that it reads like a line without it being such a stark, strong line. It just feels more natural because there's going to be a few bushes in here that are going to overhang over your road. And so you want to just blend this line in now slightly. So it's very wet and I just put those, oh, so I'm gonna have to cover over that green bit. So I'm just gonna add a little green in there near the bottom and dab it out. So that's an example of a broken line. You can do it again down here in the driveway. So along, if you look at this, you can see that it's not a straight line. There's little dots of color and then a longer dash all along this side. So you could do like a dot and then a dash and then a couple more dots and a dash, dot along there. And you need to blur these ones out. And as you get to the front, you can leave some and blur some. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add a couple more dark areas where I feel it's quite dark in here, just for some interest, to pull that around so your eye moves around the painting. Again, in here, I'm just gonna do a couple of these broken line, broken color areas. There's a little bit one up here and I'm gonna really blend it there. And then I've got quite a bit of dark in here. So I'm just gonna smudge this out as I move back through this painting. All right, so I like that. And now I'm going to show you a different technique. Oh, I forgot, here it is again, just a little bit lighter though. So I'm getting rid of some of my water. And on this side of the driveway, you can see it's sort of like dot, dot. There's quite a long line here and a few other ones there. So it's like a dot, dot, and a line, and then you can blend it. And then I'm gonna put the white on later so you won't notice this as much. Actually, I might put it in now just because, why not? So as you go from the background and the back of the painting to the front of the painting, you're going from things being very blurry and watered down, transparent washes, to adding more detail, and areas can get more opaque and more saturated, and you use less water and add more focus. And that's how you create depth. Okay. So I'm just gonna lay this white in here to blend what I just did. All right, now, and take some of this peachy with a little bit of yellow in it color. And I'm going to show you a glazing technique that just kind of makes things look, for lack of a better word, glowy. and as if the sun is hitting it. So I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white, and I'm gonna check it out here and see what I think about it. So, oh, that's nice. I think I want it to be more transparent, so I'm gonna add a little bit more water, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna put this glaze of this peachy color over this darker red color, and it just will give it that feeling like it's glowing. I might have to add a little bit more yellow. There we go. And then lighten it down a little and water it out. Make sure it's nice and transparent. Good. And then again, I'm just gonna add those sunshiny areas back in here. And it kind of gives it that rich layered look. And I might add a little bit in here just to add that. And then I can add a little bit of just white, because I feel like those glazes are a little dark. I'm just gonna get some more white and throw it in here. More white, throw it in here, and there. It's better. And then I'm just gonna dot a few areas. Again, those little broken line situations. Just add a couple dots because the dirt will look that way. The next one I'm going to show you is what's called Impasto, which I'm not probably pronouncing right, but you've got to think of it as like a solid application of paint. And the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to add this palette knife to the repertoire. So what you're going to do is wet it. While it's wet, you can lay in some of this. I'm gonna get like a brown yellow color. I'm gonna throw just a little bit of this red in, and then you can kind of, I might want to try this out first. See, and as you can see, you're just adding a darker, more thicker layer of paint, which adds some of that texture, and it makes it just sort of look like dirt. It gives it a rougher texture and adds some interest. So I'm gonna do that in here in a few places. This might be too big for this little, but I'm gonna put some in there. You could use a plastic knife if you don't have a palette knife. You just want something that you can drag along the surface that's gonna leave behind like sort of like a little dirt. So there. So you're kind of going for that. If I was gonna show you this color here, you're just looking for kind of a layered, you know, the paint is just a bit thicker, so you have some transparent areas here. So give that a try. You can also do some scraping. So in some areas that are wet, you can go back in and scrape some of the paint out here. You can make some leafy areas. I say if I was gonna put a little bit of green here. Okay, I'm just gonna wet it down. So say I add a little bit of green in here, and then I wanna make it look like there's some blades of grass in there. I can scrape out the area, and it leaves a bit of a highlight there. So you can practice some scraping. I might do it up here a bit with this lighter color. And again, you can scrape some areas out. So just as the paint is about to dry, you can leave some texture in there. You can also do like a scrubbing motion, and that's kind of what I do with my finger, or you can do that with a rag or a piece of tissue or paper towel, and you can apply some paint to an area. So say I'm gonna apply some paint to this area. I'm gonna do like a light green here. Okay, and so I'm gonna add that. Ooh, that's pretty bright. Let me just tone that down a little. That's why I've been adding a little bit of that red so it's not so. And then what you can do is use your towel and you can just rub it or scrub it. Just don't scrub too hard if you use paper, because you'll get like a pilling that it will start to peel up. So just rub gently, or try it on the paper first, a piece of scrap paper, and see what happens. So you can rub out with your finger or rub out with tissues or paper towel or rag. The other thing you can do is splattering, and I like to use this. Just be careful, just wet your toothbrush. Get a toothbrush, wet it, and I would cover yourself because it can go everywhere. And what you can do is take a little bit of the paint, get it in the brush. You might want to try it out here first, see what happens. See, and you can get some, depending on how hard you pull the brush strokes back, you'll get larger ones, and you can just do light little ones as well and get a splattering effect. So if you don't want that to happen on your sky, this is great for water, to get splashes. You can do, here we go, add a little texture up here, there, and then maybe I want to do a little bit of white, so I'm going to take a little bit of my white with the water. There, try it out on my paper. Good stuff. Oh boy. So, okay, put a little bit in there, and then I can go back in with my brush and take out the stuff that I didn't like. See, that's why you want to cover up your, I'll just wipe this out right now, and then just take out the stuff you didn't like. Okay. So, and you can blend some areas and leave some areas splattered here. All right, now I want to go in and do some highlights. So something I've started using that is pastels. So this is just a basic set of pastels, 24 pastels. I got them at Staples. You can get some online through Amazon. You can go to Curry's. You can probably get them at the dollar store. I haven't looked, but if you get an oil pastel, you can take these pastels and add them to your painting, and they just help brighten things up and create some of those shadows you need. So I'm going to do that now quickly. So here's my white, and you can just look at your picture, your inspiration picture, and lay in those areas that you just want to add. You can do it on the wet paint or on the drier areas as well. Try both. So I'm just going to add my pastel there, maybe a bit here, and then you can smudge, which is another technique. You might want to just kind of rub your pastel in here to create these flower shapes, maybe a couple more down here, and I'm just rolling my pastel into here to create some little dots of light coming through the trees. And then you can just blend up here so that it's not so rough. And then I might want to come in with this nice, this color here, this peachy color, and just kind of lay some of those shapes in here. One here, here, here. There's quite a big area here. And then you're just adding those little details, playing around, seeing what you think looks good. I think I might want to add a little bit of yellow in here. So there's a bit of a lighter area in here, and you can either use the pastel flat or you can use it on the slide to get a thin line. there's a bit of yellow down here. It's quite a bit brighter down here by these trees. There's a bit of a bright area. I'm just gonna dot a few in here and kind of these little dandelions here, and touch the side. Add a few rolls in here. Okay, now there's a bit of a yellow area in here, a couple of them there. All right, I like that. And now I'm gonna put in a couple shadows here along the side. I'm gonna use this brown and kind of go in. I don't like that one so much. I need to go back in. So when I put in some of that yellow and peach, I washed out some of the white again, so you might have to come back in and then just dot in that white. And keep rubbing. I have a little bit of this kind of, this light yellow. I might just add a couple little areas here, there, just for a bit of another tone. There, just again, that broken line technique. I'm gonna put a little bit in here. It's a bit lighter in here. So you get the gist. You're just playing around and adding those little bits. You're adding your highlights. And then once you've added all your highlights, I want to do a couple more little green little bits in here with either the pastels or your paint. Just brighten it up a bit. This is kind of minty, so I don't want to use too much of it. But I'm just going to dab a few little bits and pieces in here to give it some. And I like to just, if I add something, I like to just kind of do like a couple dots of it somewhere else, because then it feels intentional. It feels like it's all balanced. Okay, so there.